Fine. Cool. Howdy, 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 everybody. Alright, howdy, howdy, everybody. We are just getting a couple of things going. So we're just kind of chillax until we get going. Not in a rush to do these. These are two really simple builds we're doing today, so nothing too crazy. So give me a minute. Just going to some of the self-promo channels on Discord and putting the word out. And we'll get going, folks. All right. Alright, cool. Alright, everybody. I think we're going to get this one going, everybody. So I'll kind of show y'all what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be doing, just checking audio is good. And yeah, we're good, everybody. So, alright, welcome, everybody. So we're going to be doing a couple of builds today. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're doing Cherry Mix pretty much for this stream. What's up, Parrot? So we're doing Cherry Mix today. So this should not be a super crazy involved build stream, but we're doing two builds today. So we're going to be doing a DNWorks 02. This is actually my 02, and I actually have recently sold this board. And upon talking with the person who I sold it to, they wanted me to rebuild it, and I asked them, "Well, can I do it on stream?" They said, "Sure. Well, we're cool with that." So they had this particular set of switches they wanted me to use. We're going to be rebuilding this with Gateron Type Rs. And these are ones that they had, they lubed, filmed, and switch swapped, which is, spring swapped, which is really cool. So they mailed those down to me. And then we're also going to be rebuilding a 40%. It's 40s day today in the world. It's the 40th day of the year, so that's kind of the unofficial 40% keyboard day. So we're going to be rebuilding my personal custom minivan with the, so that's going to be really cool. So we're going to be rebuilding it with a new PCB. What's up, Naveed? So we're going to be doing two builds today. So we're doing the DNWorks 02. This was my personal 02. One thing I'll just kind of tell you guys, over the past couple of weeks, I've been reassessing kind of my personal collection, and I have a metric crap load of boards. And I just kind of reassessed and kind of took a look at certain boards that I had that were like really, really cool. but weren't really getting a lot of use. So I decided to liquidate those boards and part with those boards and use the funds to fund other things and other projects in terms of keyboards going forward. And one of the boards that I decided to part with was my DNWorks 02. It's a gorgeous board, and I absolutely love it. And it's not my only DNWorks board. But this, of the two DNWorks boards that I had, this is the one that got the least amount of use. I mean, it's a cool board, and I love my 65s. But I'll pull it out and kind of show you guys what, if you're not familiar with this particular board. But it's a GMK Darling themed keyboard, so it's a really cool board, beautifully done, gorgeous anodization. Darren's a cool guy. He's a friend of mine. I have his full size, the 925. I'm not selling that. That thing is awesome. But I just realized, like, this board, I literally have used it probably twice since I got it. I've been kind of self-reflecting on just kind of where I am in the hobby. And I'm not going anywhere, but I've kind of self-reflected on, like, why do I get boards? Like, that's kind of the question I've been asking myself, is why do I get boards? And some of the I offloaded a few boards over the past few weeks, and I realized I got those boards for the wrong reason. A lot of the reason, some of these boards I got rid of, I'm parting with this. I got rid of my Owl Labs Jelly Evolve. I parted with my Matrix Labs 100 NG. I also parted with my Matrix Labs NOS. And there was a couple other boards I sold to kind of fund other projects. And I realized I bought them for the wrong reason. I bought them for the hype, and I bought them because they're cool, and not because I really wanted them. And you know what's weird? I'll tell you what kind of killed this for me. Like, it's the board that's killed every 65 for me. I'll tell you. Like, if I am going to grab a 65, there's really only one 65 I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing this puppy. Like, that's really what killed it for me. It's the Kohaku. I mean, the Kohaku is an overhyped board in my personal opinion. And I pretty much got rid of, I've parted with the boards I got because they're essentially for bragging rights. Like, oh, I'm cool for having it. The one board I'm keeping that's kind of in that category is the Kohaku. The Kohaku is amazing. Like, I have it partially because of bragging rights and to be kind of like a weird nerd cool club. But this is I don't know, like, it's kind of the king, it's the king of the mountain in terms of 65s. So I also have a TGR 910. That one's also really cool for me too. But, like, of my 60, other than the NOS I got rid of because I absolutely hated that piece of garbage. I mean, if I had to pick a worst keyboard that ran on Group I in 2025, it'd be the Matrix Labs NOS. And that's a damn shame because Matrix Labs makes really cool stuff. And the other boards that I've owned from Matrix Labs, like my 100 NG, my Vita, like my Navi, I freaking love my Navi. I'm down to one Matrix Labs board, and that's my SpongeBob Navi. That's not going anywhere. That's like a fan favorite. But like this board, it's great. Like, there is nothing bad to say about this board, but I just have so many iconic 65% that I would always gravitate more. Like, if I'm on a Cherry MX day or I'm moving, I go through a period I want to use my Cherry boards and I want to use my 65s. This was like the last board I would grab. So I just realized when I was kind of reevaluating, like, the fun, like, as cool as this board is, I'm getting no use out of it. And and this is a very expensive board. I got a lot of money from this board. So I just realized the money I could get from this board could go and be served in better places, and, like, I could use it for other really cool projects. And like the boards I've sold, the money's basically gone into some really cool projects that we're going to be doing going forward. Someone just asked, why do we have ads on the stream? So we are monetized here on Twitch now, which is really cool. So a couple of weeks ago, we became a Twitch. We reached affiliate status here. So that's just a side note. Huge thank you to everyone who just does any kind of support on any of these channels, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Discord. Like, massive thank you to everyone online, whether you're tuning in for 30 seconds or you're tuning in for the whole stream. Thank you. So we are now monetized. So I'm not saying monetization is going to make me quit my day job, but it's nice to get a little bit of monetization from the views that we get here on Twitch. So a huge thank you to that. But yeah, this board is it's a really cool board. Naveed, I respect your determination. I was just kind of over it. Like, I hated that board, and I just wanted to get rid of it. All the boards I've sold, I've made money. I've either broken even or I've made some money on them. The NOS I took a huge loss. I just wanted to get rid of it. And I took a pretty steep loss on that particular board. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I wanted to get rid of it. And that's just the thing. And again, like I said, even by taking a loss, the funds went to, like, it funded an even cooler project, something I'm much more happy about. So, like, that's fine with me. That's the only board I've sold where I've taken a loss on a board. Like, that board's kind of an exception. It was just such a piece of garbage. I'm not dealing with it. But yeah, and then the other project we're going to be doing is the minivan. So, I tore apart my minivan today because we got another. It's 40% day, and we actually got another 40% in today. So speaking of the boards that we've sold, here's a project that those boards have funded. So this is a board called the Pomelo. So I'm into Alps. Most of my 40% are pretty much all my 40% except my Agar Mini, which is Topra, are Cherry Mechs. And part of the reason for that is keycap compatibility. Keycap is, yeah, so this, oh, sorry, ill intent. I'm just I'm bullshitting before we jump into the builds. So the Pomelo, I got this, this came in today. And I've been doing a lot of research over the past few weeks on doing a 40% build with Alps. And I actually have a minivan, the original PCB that I had in my minivan actually supported Alps. So I tore this board down to get that PCB. And then this PCB is just a standard Cherry Mech solder PCB that fits in my minivan. So that's what we're gonna be putting in the board. The PCB that came in this today, we're gonna be putting this inside the minivan. So, but the minivan's PCB supports Alps, and I was kind of looking at like minivan compatible keyboards that would support my Alps PCB. And this is the one I really like. There's probably like 5 or 6 I kind of narrowed it down to, and the Pomelo just really appealed to me. I just realized though, I needed the the Windows key version. And this board's old. It's an older group buy. They only made about 200 of them. And I put the word out on like Reddit and Discord and online, and I could not find anything. I had no leads. And then one day a guy messages me and he said, "Hey man, like I have a Pomelo. I really don't want to sell it, but I've seen your stuff online. Like I want you to like, would you be interested in purchasing mine?" I'm like, "Yeah, like send me some pics." And I said, crap, you have the wing keyless version. I don't really need that, but you're my only lead. So I told the guy, like, "Hey man, I'm really looking for a Windows key one, but like you have been my only lead in weeks." So I told the guy, gave me his price, I bought it, and it showed up today. And so essentially a lot of custom work has to be done to this board to make it work. So the first thing we got to do is these wing keyless blockers, they got to go. My Alps PCB will not support these wing keyless blockers. So next weekend we're gonna take a Dremel and we're gonna basically cut these wing keyless blockers off. And then once the wing key, I'm gonna cut them probably I'd say 1 or 2 millimeters away from kind of the outer edge of the case. And then I'm basically gonna do some hand filing, and we're just gonna flatten those down so we have a nice uniform Windows key kind of bottom case. So that's gonna be a lot of work. And then this board, since we're basically gonna be chopping a portion of this keyboard off, we got to get it custom coated because I don't want raw metal. So if any of you have color suggestions, put them in the Discord. We got to do a 2-tone color, so I want the bottom case to be one color and the top case to be another. So if you have any color ideas, let me know. And I don't know what switches we're going to do. I'm talking with some people online. And also I have a set of keycaps. So part of the reason I haven't done Alps 2 is also just finding PCBs, is also finding keycaps. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to use the modifiers, the bottom row, the space bars, is going to be from DCS Reaper, which I haven't had. And DCS Reaper is the only Alps keycap set that I know that has proper 40% support, specifically with the modifiers. 40s are really weird with the modifiers. Like, here's another one of my 40s. This is my Neko. Like, the modifiers are just really freaking weird. I mean, I'll grab one that's like really strange. The 40s, I have them all out here. Like, here's my Lazy Designers Duo. So, like, you can just see how the modifiers are weird non-standard sizes and non-standard profiles. So that's a really big problem with these boards. So yeah, that's what we're gonna kind of figure out there. But yeah, this is a cool project. And then once we get it custom, once we chop off the Windows key blockers and we get it custom Cerakote, this is probably gonna take like the next 2 months. Then I'll have Careless design a plate. So I have the plate files for this particular keyboard, so I'll have Careless convert them to Alps and the layout that I need. and then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, this is gonna be a long time stuff. Oh, so Lazy Designers is outstanding. So if you can get a Lazy Designer board, you have to be in their Discord. That's pretty much where everything is done, because the guy who runs it is named Jackie, and he's it. He's Lazy Designer. It's one guy. So it's very small run boards, but if you like 40%, I think Lazy Designers, you cannot go wrong. They're fantastic quality boards. I love my Lazy Designers Duo. I would love to have more Lazy Designer boards, but like I said, I'm kind of downsizing boards and switching over to like more vintage stuff. And like I said, one of my rules for like especially new production modern boards going forward is I only want to get them if I can convert them either to Alps or Topra. I really don't want to add to my Cherry MX collection. There's one exception of a board that I'm going to be adding to the collection, which is the Kibei Tech W80. Like, I love Kibei Tech. Chester's a friend. I'm going to support that project. With the exception of that, I really am. So I'm going to be very selective with projects I purchase going forward. Hence why I sold a lot of like high dollar boards to kind of fund other projects. So, but yeah, Lazy does. And I asked Jackie if he would ever consider doing Alps, and he just said the demand isn't there. And it would just be absurdly expensive to design a PCB. So yeah, WA is gonna be awesome. But yeah, it's a really cute board. I got mine in pink. And then I put GMK Olivia on it, which is really cool. And then I also tracked down the 40s kit. So I got the 40s kit. I found someone on Mech Market had the 40% kit. So for this board, so it's a really, really cute board. So awesome. So yeah, let's put that away. But yeah, let's move the 40% stuff. We're gonna do the 02 first for our client, and then yeah. So let me move all this stuff out of the way. And then let me tear down the 02 first. So I want to pull out. So when I ordered my 02, I always order a spare PCB. So the client, they're going to be getting the PCB assembly that I built, and they're also going to be getting the I ordered a second plate for this board. So that's why you order a second plate, folks. So I also need a plate for this. So that's really cool. So the client's getting 2 assemblies, which is really cool. So let me disassemble. Let me get my keycap puller and let's pull this assembly out. So the client also purchased my GMK Darling set. Like, again, I'm not really trying to sell my GMK sets, but this board is built for GMK Darling. So when I asked the client, like, hey man, like I have Darling, do you want my Darling set? Like, that's not a hard set for me to get anymore. Like, Darling's not a hard set to get anymore. Like, before Darling R2, like Darling was like people were asking like $500 for Darling, but now like they sold a bajillion sets of Darling R2. So like if I wanted Darling again, like I can get it. So like I'm not too worried about Darling. It's so out there now. Like it's an easy set to get. I mean, eventually later down the line I'll probably get Darling again because there's probably a Topre project in the future I would love to put on this board. But yeah, but like I think I just felt like offloading this board and parting this board was just like, again, it would have been better. It would have been better. Yeah. I mean, Naveed, I'm happy to make you a mod, dude. It's all good. Hold off on the membranes, my man. That's what I would say. Like, Ill10, I know you're getting this board. Hold off. I don't know. I have GMK Symbio. I didn't get the membrane kit with it. I'll be completely honest, just everything's subjective in this hobby. Like that kit didn't really appeal to me. I love Symbiote. I mean, I have Symbiote on my Neko right here, and I think with this purple colorway Neko, that is awesome. So I love Symbiote. Like that is definitely an awesome set. Symbiote was really expensive for me to buy because I had to buy all the kits for the 40%. Because I bought that with the intention of putting on my Neko. That's another thing with 40% too. Like especially if you want to go the GMK route. Most of the GMK sets don't have the 40 support in it, and if a GMK set does have 40% support, it's going to be in an add-on kit, and those add-on kits can be 40, 50, 60 bucks. So like, and then you have to buy the spacebar kit because most of them have split. You're gonna need a split spacebar. So like, especially if you're trying to do GMK, it's really, really expensive. Like my recommendation, if you're on more of a budget and you want to get into 40%, 2 companies I recommend that have fantastic support, 40 support in their standard base kits are going to be Kikobo and then also PBT Fans. PBT Fans always makes 40% because the thing with GMK, they don't always make a 40s kit or have 40s keycaps included in their kits or their extra sets offering. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so it's just kind of interesting. Yeah, joking around. Navid's a good guy, so it's all good. So let me just flip this around. So one thing about this board is a gasket-mounted keyboard, so I'm just getting the screws out right now. There we go. So it's a gasket-mounted board. Oops, yeah, it's been a minute. I literally have not taken this apart since I got it. So that plate was kind of stuck to the screws. So we'll kind of showcase how this board is built. It's very simple. I think Darian did a really good job with his implementation of this board. Just making sure I have all the screws. Did I lose a screw? No, we're good. We got all the screws. So yeah, we'll kind of showcase how this board is built. It's a really good build. I mean, Darian Works boards are fantastic. They're pretty expensive. I don't know why Twitch. I don't know what Twitch does. You guys have fun down there in the chat. But what's really cool too, also, Ill in Town, if you notice this too, there's a nice little interior. Darian likes to put some type of a design on the interior of his weights. So you have 02 right there. So you have that nice little engraving right there, which I think is really, really cool. And then you have Darian's logo right here. But yeah, you have that internal brass weight, so that doesn't show through on the exterior of the board, which is really nice. But that's a nice little just kind of design detail. You don't really see it unless you open it. So I'm going to put the case to the side because we're really, again, for the first half of this stream, we're really just going to focus on the 02. And then, of course, we have the gaskets right here. So we have gaskets on the top case, and also we have gaskets on the bottom case. So this is my build I did. So the client's getting both. They did buy most of my I bought the entire GMK Darling set. I bought the Spacebar kit, and I also bought the Metal Artisan. Client didn't want that, so I'm keeping those because I do like my Metal Artisans. But yeah, we're just going to take these keycaps off because we will be using these keycaps. So how I built this particular assembly, it has an aluminum plate. It has Gateron Box Ink Pink V2 switches. And then I just put a Duroc stabilizer. So I kept it pretty simple. So nothing too crazy right here. So we're just pulling these off. So we'll pull this set off. But yeah, my client is getting this. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, like we're going good. But yeah, Darling is a really cool set. I mean, just kind of a lore on it. Again, Darling is a licensed set with Trip pays tribute to the anime Darling and the Franxx. It ran during COVID and no one bought it, the initial run of it. So they barely met MOQ when they bought it because everyone thought, oh, this is dumb. And then once people got the set in their hands, they're like, oh, this is a kind of a cool set. And then since no one bought it and there were hardly any in the wild, the set price skyrocketed. And this set, some people were paying $600-700 for the set at like its height. So then people were kind of once COVID kind of cooled down, people were kind of saying like, when is Darling coming? Oh yeah, they actually got the licensing for this. So then they kind of asked, people were saying like, hey, when's Darling R2 gonna run? When's Darling R2 gonna run? And Novel Keys then kind of teased it and then announced like, hey, we're running Darling R2. And they sold in I think the thousands of this set. So like if someone wants Darling and maybe you didn't get the R2 group buy, there is a metric crap load of these sets out there. So like you can go on Mech Market, on like Discord or Reddit, and you can get this set at MSRP. Or if you go to certain vendors online, I think some vendors still have this set. So this is a very, like I'll be completely honest. I sold this keycap set because it's part of the board. Like the whole purpose of this board is to have GMK Darling. So that's just. So yeah, I wasn't going to sell this board without GMK Darling. I eventually will reacquire this set, but it is a very low priority. I would love to use it on like a Topra build one day. So yeah, and again, I love DN Works board, and I have my DN Works 925. Like that board isn't going anywhere. I love my full sizes. Like when it comes to keyboards, my two favorites are going to be full sizes and 40%. So like the biggest and like the smallest keyboard. Yeah, so they actually got the licensing for this particular board, which I find really, really cool. Like, it's a really cool set. Like, I love it, and I'm glad it's now out there in the wild with R2, where, like, anyone who wants this set can get it at, like, a reasonable price. So, Ill Intent, I'm going to put this in the carrying case. And then, again, you will have this build assembly as well. These are really good switches. And and I really, really enjoy them. Also, Ill Intent, one just thing to note too, as we're going to build this board, there is no foam with this board. So if that was something, I don't know if that is something you're interested in. It's literally, this is a foamless build. You literally get your aluminum plate and you get your PCB. So that's how we're building it. But yeah, there is no DN Works boards. They don't put foam in them. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. So that you don't have a choice. I'm just telling you that's how we're building it. But yeah, it's a really cool build. But yeah, you're getting this assembly. I'm going to stick this in the case. So you'll have two builds that you can do. You can have my build and then the one we're doing with you, with your switches. Let me just put that to the side. And we're mainly going to focus on this. So the client also wanted Type Plus stabilizers. So we're going to lube up some Type Plus stabilizers. I do want to get the PCB out. And we'll kind of go from there. So I'll kind of showcase the PCB. Darian did do custom PCBs for this, which is really cool. So again, you have another kind of little etching of 02, which is really cool. So that is really, really awesome. It does say 02 on the back of the PCB, and you have another little etching right there, which is really cool. So it's nice that it's pink. I don't really see pink PCBs. That was a really cool touch that Darian did. So come on. Come on. There you go. If I can open up this thing plate. Here we go. Yeah, another thing too with this particular board too, it is raw aluminum, which looks really good. So yeah, so that's really good. So yeah, we have our plate right there and we're going. Also, Ill Intent, quick question. The only real would you want do you want stepped caps lock? Do you want a 6.25 or 7U space bar, and do you want a split or unified backspace? I forgot to ask you that, but those are options we have on here. Actually, no, 7U space bar is the only option, but I can do split backspace if you want, and I can do stepped or non-stepped caps lock. Sorry about that. So just let me know. I'm gonna start lubing some stabilizers, but if you want step caps lock or split backspace, please let me know. So non-step caps, okay, cool. And then do you want a full backspace or split backspace? Okay, full backspace. Cool. So we're going full. Okay, cool. Non-step caps lock, full backspace. Cool. That's awesome. That makes my life easier just knowing that. So yeah, so that's where we go. So we're gonna do some Type Pluses, and no, not that box. I have a metric crap load of Type Pluses, and I got this one. Sweet. Going with this one right here. So let me get my 7U. So we're doing 4 stabs on this one today. So we got 4 stabilizers on this puppy, which will be great. So let me get these ones out. Yeah, also, I love that you let Ill Intent. I love... Oh, nice. Use caps as control. Nice. I mean, you're getting the whole keycap set. So I'm going to put on the keycaps that I had just kind of stock. And then when you get the GMK box, you can kind of mix and match and also reprogram stuff and whatnot. So, yeah, because this the PCB is VIA, which is really nice. So, again, you get that full VIA customization. So that is always a plus when you get that. So Darian does really good stuff with it. Darian's PCBs are usually top-notch. So I'm just getting these housings out of here. So good times. All right, yeah. Yeah, we'll also be doing some Topra builds coming up, which will be really cool. So Dynacap R2 will be restocking soon, so that's going to be always a fun time. So one last set, and then, yeah. So we'll do the 02, and then we're going to do the Minivan. I figured we'd do 2 builds because Cherry MX builds are super, super simple. Like, I'll have this build probably done in like 30 minutes. So yeah, so we're going to get this one done, and we're going to kind of go from there. So, but yeah, this is a good board. I really enjoy it. But like I said, I really wasn't using it. Like, again, Ill Intent, you're basically getting a new board. Like, I built it. I took pictures of it. I used it like 2 times, and then it sat pretty in my keyboard display. So, yeah, so you're basically getting a new board, which is really nice. So, but yeah, it's a really good board. And again, I know it's going to a good home, and that's going to be super sick. So, yeah, we're just lubing these. It would help if I didn't drop stuff. That would be, you guys get to see me drop stuff on stream, guys. Look at that. Good times. So, yeah, so we're just going to start lubing this up, and we'll get going. So, but yeah, this is a good board. Really, really cool board. Like I said, DN Works is really cool. The cool thing about DN Works, it's run by a guy named Darian, and he's the entire operation. He's just one guy. He does all the design. He like negotiates with the manufacturer. He also does all the logistics. So once the manufacturer has completed the boards, He handles shipping them back here to where he is here in Los Angeles, and then he then ships the boards out to wherever the clients are in the world. So another thing too with DN Works, again, their DN Works boards. If you're interested in a DN Works board, they're not cheap. Just kind of be aware of that. They're a smaller studio. Darian's runs, if he does a design, he never reruns boards, but most of the boards are going to have a production run of between 30 and 50 boards. So very, very small production runs. So one of the things is just kind of economies of scale. When you make less of something, it's going to be more expensive. So, like example, like QWERTY Keys. Like QWERTY Keys can sell their boards at the prices that they do is because they're making hundreds, if not thousands, of those boards. And that takes a lot of money and that takes a lot of capital to do. But when you're just like one person like Darian, like that's not financially feasible. So that's just the kind of thing I tell people with DN Works boards. Like some people just kind of get offended by the price. And I just kind of have to tell you, like, there's a reason the boards cost that. There's a lot that goes into them. And again, there's not a lot of them that are made. And that doesn't mean that they're rare. It's just when you're making less of something that is inherently going to cost more. So Ill Intent, there's only about 50 of these boards in existence. It was a very, very small production run. So, and it was run by raffle. So I got lucky and won one of these units in the raffle. So that's just, there's a very, very few of these boards out there. Again, they sell for their MSRP. It's not like a Kohaku or a Jane where they go for like several $1,000s, like I said in Ill Intent. Like, you can get these boards around what they sold. So again, that's the one nice thing about DN Works boards is on the aftermarket, they don't ask, like, you're not paying over MSRP for those boards, which I find really nice because I think it's kind of insane when people spend, like, I think a good example would be Singa boards. Like, as someone who owns 2 Singa boards, including the Kohaku, it is absolutely insane, in my personal opinion, what people pay for Singa boards. Now, I love Elaine. I've had interactions with Elaine. She's lovely, and her boards are awesome. Would I pay that hefty premium in the aftermarket for her boards? Absolutely not. That doesn't mean her boards are bad. I love her boards, but it's just, I think it's kind of absurd what people pay. And I think it's just hype and things like that. Oh yeah, that's why I have the British Racing Green Kohaku. Like that's when I knew I wanted a Kohaku, I wanted the British Racing Green one. That was the only variant of that board that I wanted personally. And so I knew I wanted to track that one down. And I got really lucky with my Kohaku because I got it at MSRP. So that's the cool thing. Because one thing about, so I got my Kohaku at like the $600 MSRP. So that's like the nice thing about it. Because I wasn't about to pay like, some people pay like, I once saw someone pay like $1,200 for a freaking Kohaku. And I'm like, that's insane. I'm sorry. It's a cool board. But like, there's so many better 65% than a Kohaku, to be completely honest. If you're going to spend like $1,000 on a freaking 65%, there are way cooler keyboards you're going to get for that price. Yeah. Well, it's funny until you mention that. Like when I, especially when I'm doing a Cherry MX build, I usually want to get the board in a colorway that themes well with a particular keycap set. Like again, if there's a board that's specifically built for a keycap set, like the BRG Kohaku or like the 02 for Darling, like I really want to try and find boards like that really kind of accent and go with that theme really well. That's just kind of the thing I look for in those types of boards. But yeah, overall it's a really cool board, and I'm happy. We'll ship this board out tomorrow, which will be really cool. And yeah, definitely send some pictures over to Darian's Discord server. Yeah, the 02s are awesome. And I mean, yeah, if you want to if anyone's interested in like a DN Works board, like Darian has a couple of projects upcoming, which will be really cool. I think Darian's next project is an Alice board. So if you're into ergo keys or split keyboards, like definitely check out his Alice project. That's gonna be a really cool one. Like I'm pretty good on DN Works boards. Like again, like the 925 kind of fills my DN Works niche and kind of itch. Like I had his 65% and that didn't really cut it for me. I thought it was bad. It's just I just wasn't using it. And like I said, I'm really trying to downsize my Cherry MX stuff because I'm really getting into like the vintage stuff and trying to convert modern keyboards to Alps. And I have a whole project backlog of modern keyboard projects that I'm converting to Alps. In addition to like client builds and vintage builds, I gotta get back together. I got like 20 vintage keyboards I gotta get back together, which are all very, very slow and very multi-week processes. So I have such a big backlog of projects. So like I don't need to be getting new boards because I have plenty of boards to keep me occupied right for the next foreseeable future. So I am chilling. So letting some boards go to kind of fund other projects. I was more than happy to oblige Mech Market and let people pick up some of the shit I had. So hey, all my keyboards went to good homes, so I am okay with that. So yeah, it's a good time. So yeah, let's get this one in. And we're just getting these Type Plus stabs put together. So Type Plus stabs have really been growing on me. When I initially got into the hobby, I was all about Durox stabs. Like, Durox stabs get a lot of hate, but if you lube them right, like, they're fantastic stabilizers. But the one thing about, I started getting into client work last year, and I had a bunch of clients request Type Plus stabilizers, and I'd never really used them, but I'd heard good things about them. And I've just kind of fallen in love, and now they're like my go. When I'm doing a board that uses Cherry Mech stabilizers, like Type Plus stabs are pretty much my go-to now, even for my personal builds, which is really cool. That's why, like with Ill Intent, when you request, I asked you what stabs you want to use. He said Type Plus. I'm like, cool. I have a metric crap load of them on hand. So yeah, because what's cool about these. There's not a lot you got to do to them to make them sound good. So that's the thing I really like about these, which is really good. So, yeah, we're just getting them going. So we're just getting these puppies lubed up, and then we'll get going. So once these are done, this is probably the most involved process of any Cherry MX build for me. It's just the stabs. It just takes time. So once we get these kind of screwed into the PCB, then we'll start putting in these customized Gateron Type Rs that the client sent over, and then we'll start getting this puppy soldered, which will be really nice. So yeah, I actually I have one Hall Effect board. So Naveed the Keeb guy actually sent me the PCB that's in this board. It's a Gateron GT60 PCB built with Owlab TI-HE switches and then GMK Mando. Oh, dude, Naveed, I love this thing. Dude, I want one Hall Effect build within my collection, and this is my one Hall Effect build. Like, I game in my free time when I'm not doing keyboard stuff or I'm not working or stuff. But I love this thing. Like, this board is awesome. And Naveed, it's like the way, Naveed, you said like that Alps build I did for you is sentimental. Like, this is a sentimental board for me. Because again, the heart of this build, which is the PCB and the switches, is from you. So yeah, so I got this from Naveed the Keeb guy. So I got this KB Defense GT60 case, and then I got these red accents. I got it in this kind of gray with these red accents, and that just goes great with GMK Mando. So it's a really, really good, really awesome little board. And like for me, like as a gamer, like I don't play competitive gaming titles. And I'll be completely honest, I'm not a big online gamer. I prefer single player games. So like my use case as a gamer, I don't really benefit from Hall Effect. Like Hall Effect's like all the rage right now. And it's a cool tech. Like the tech with Hall Effect is really cool, and I love that people are exploring Hall Effect keyboards. But for the vast majority of gamers, like you're not going to notice a difference. It's negligible. Like Hall Effect really only matters if you're gaming at like the highest level. Like you're on the esports teams for like some of the big tech companies, or like you're one of the best like gamers in the world. Like if you're gaming at that high of a level, then yeah, those like milliseconds matter. But for your average casual gamer like myself, like it's cool, but like it's just not like it's just I'm not good enough of a gamer, nor do I game enough for it to matter. But it's a cool tech, and one thing I always tell people too, is someone who's really into vintage keyboards now, Hall Effect is an old tech. Believe it or not. Like, Hall Effect is from, like, the 1970s. Like, it's an old technology. It's been around for a long time. It was funny, on Reddit, I say a couple months back, I saw someone arguing about Hall Effect, and they're saying, oh, it's this new tech. I'm like, dude, it's an old piece of tech. Like, Hall Effect is really old. It's new for keyboards, so to speak, but, like, the actual, like, concept of Hall Effect is not new. Like, it's a very, very old technology. Which I think is really cool. And you can also find like older keyboards from like back in the day that use Hall effect, like, which is really cool. So it's a technology that has been around for, again, like almost 50 years, something like that at this point. So, which is really, really cool to me. So, yeah, Hall effect, it's kind of cool. It's been getting a lot of love within the hobby, and there's a lot of really good options now with Hall effect switches. And the thing I always tell people too is like I like keeping the Hall effect build on hand, because like Hall effect does like, especially in keyboards, like the switches use Cherry Mech stems, but those are not Cherry Mech switches. Like if you've done any work with like a Hall effect build, like the switches are completely different and the PCBs are completely different, and also the plates are kind of different too, because you have to screw the plate to the PCB to kind of hold, like kind of like Topra. Honestly, like I feel like Hall effect has more in common with Topra than actual Cherry Mech builds, which is kind of cool. Just kind of how they're built and kind of how the PCBs look. So yeah, so it's really cool. So like I really enjoy Hall effect. I definitely want to do a TKL eventually in the future. So if it's the Hall effect, so I think with Hall effect, the vast majority of switches are going to be linear, because again, you really don't want tactile or clicky, because any of those, the purpose of Hall effect is to be fast. So you really don't want those bumps. So this sounds really nice. Yeah, it sounds really nice. Like I love this board. It sounds fantastic. But it's linear. Just think of a linear. There's nothing special. It feels like an average linear switch. Now there are some tactile Hall effect switches out in the market now, but like, and I like tactiles, but I feel like a tactile Hall effect kind of defeats the purpose of Hall effect, because again, the purpose of Hall effect is to be fast, and you want nothing interfering with your key travel. And also Hall effect, what's really cool is you can tailor how the actuation force. Like you can program the switch where you barely touch it, and that'll actuate a key press. But if you have a tactile bump in there, that kind of messes up the whole point of doing Hall effect, in my personal opinion. So like, I mean, it's cool they have tactile options, but like, I don't know. I tried a tactile. I was at a keyboard meet at UC Irvine back in October, and they had a vendor there who had some of the first tactile Hall effect switches that were put on the market. And we were just kind of talking. I just was thinking like, it's cool, but like that kind of defeats the purpose of Hall effect. So like, Hall effect should be linear, in my humble opinion, just for kind of the purpose it's being utilized for within tech and gaming. Like you really want linear Hall effect switches, because again, like especially if you're going to be competitive gaming, like you want those switch presses to be as fast and accurate as possible. So, all right, let's get this one going. But yeah, eventually I do want to do a TKL Hall effect build. I don't know what TKL I'd want to convert it to. I mean, I would want to convert from Cherry Mech to Hall effect, but that is a future project, because I don't want to give myself more projects. But yeah, definitely in the future, I would definitely want to convert a TKL, because they're relatively easy to convert, which is nice. It's because I think Hall effect, all you really need is a compatible PCB and a plate, which is pretty good. So okay. Yeah, so ill intent. So what you're gonna look for if you wanna do a custom Topra, just beware, it's gonna be absurdly expensive. Like the expensive side of the hobby is not Cherry Mechs, it's high end Topra, custom Topra, and it's high end custom Alps. Like that's where the hobby gets expensive. So a Cloudline you should be able to convert. What you're going to need is you're going to need a plate made. You can go to Sipulit's website. I always mess up the pronunciation, but go to Sip's website, and he has a plate generator. I think the Cloudline is on there, but then the PCB you're going to have to use is his TKL pattern PCB. But yeah, that's a board, because I've had a friend convert that board to Alps, and it was no big deal. So if you can convert it to Alps, you can convert it to Topra. Oh, the Cloud9. Oh, not the 9. The line. Okay. I think so. Oh god, I'm mixing up. Yes, I think you should be able to. Your issue is just going to be making plates. There, screw it. Let me go to SIP's website. Screw it. We're going to take a detour, everybody. We got stabilizers. We're on here to BS anyway, so let's go to SIP's website. Let's see if let's get the plate generator up here. Let's get this thing going. I don't know. You got me on a tangent, and I'm curious now. So let's go. Let's click my screen share. Let's go to the Googles, everybody. Let's transition. There we go. Let's go to the Googles, everybody. All right, let's go to SIP. let's go to SIP's website. Yeah, so if you go to SIP's website, I can kind of resources. So you're gonna want to go to 65X Plate Maker, and so you just go to this plate maker, and you can kind of pick the baseboards. So not that one. So we want to go to the 60 plate makers. Let's see. There's a ton of options. There's a cloud line and 9 options. Okay, so it's not an option. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to pick. Like, you're basically gonna have to reach out to SIP or someone within like the Topra community to essentially make you a plate. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like Topra, the plate's completely different. It is its own system and everything. But like, what's really cool, like I'm in a 60. Like, for example, I have the H2H. So what's really cool about his plate maker, it's really kind of cool. Like, I want a normal caps lock. I'll choose a split backspace because it's HHKB. Split left shift. I'll do right shift. Oh wait, no, not like unified left shift. There we go. And then I just kind of choose the options I want, which is really cool. I want 6U HHKB. Switch type, I'll do Dynacap. And you hit download, and it'll create the plate for you. And then you can have that plate made by by someone local to you, or like someone like Hype Keyboards, which is really cool. So yeah, definitely get SIP, and also too for about the Cloud9 like that on Canon keys. They have a bunch. The thing with Sipula, it's his PCBs. He's one guy, and his PCBs are made in small batches. So you just gotta wait for the PCB to come in stock. So you're either gonna want I don't know, is the Cloud9 a 60 or 65? You're gonna want to wait for either of these two PCBs to come in stock. So, but yeah, that's what you're gonna do. I'm gonna unshare my screen now. There we go. Let's transition back to normal. There we go, everybody. So yeah, the Cloud9. Yeah, that's essentially what you want to do. Let me see. So yeah, but yeah, that's definitely, you can pretty much convert any board to like Alps or Topra. It's just how much work do you want to put into it is kind of the big thing. And the Cloud9. Okay. Yeah, I think we should be able to do that. Yeah, but ill intent, I think you should be able to convert that board pretty easily. But yeah, let me move these and let's get it going. All right, we got these going. Let's get our we gotta get our stab screwed in, and then we'll start putting switches in. So yeah, that was my tangent. We're going on tangents today, folks. We're here to BS. We're here to have fun. These are really easy builds to do, so I'm not too worried about taking forever tonight. So yeah, it's all good. So yeah, we'll get these puppies mounted, and we'll just kind of go from there. But yeah, in terms of, but yeah, for me, like, I personally prefer, now, as I've kind of grown in the hobby, like, I personally prefer Topra and Alps. Again, I like my Cherry MX stuff, and again, if a Cherry MX project is really special to me, I'll join it. But I'm not trying to add to my, like, Cherry MX collection at this point. Just because, yeah, there's other focuses I want to do in the hobby. And like I said, like, there are projects that are special, like the Keybay Tech W80 is a project I'm definitely going to join, because Chester's not making that Alps or Topra. Although it would be really cool if we could make it Topra, though. Like, if Chester uses, like, a standard PCB, which I highly doubt he will, because we're going to have all the custom lights in that one. But it would be really sick if we used, like, a standard PCB. Yeah, exactly. I think it's really cool. Like, I have pretty much all the form factors. Like, and I have 40s, I got 60s, I got 65s, I got TKLs, I got a couple 75s. Even though I sold my Jelly Evolve, I still have two 75s. I got a bunch of full sizes, and with the vintage boards, most of those are overwhelmingly full sizes. I mean, I got this puppy, which we're still restoring, so, which is cool. So, I mean, also, if you look behind me, we got the Battleship. So I got a good variety of keyboards within my collection, which is really cool. So like, I definitely keep it interesting with what I have. And like I said, I offloaded some cool boards, but my collection is still insane. Like, again, if I like, it's still, my collection is still like very, very large. Like, I still have over 20 Cherry MX builds alone. And then I know we want to think about how many vintage boards I have, and also all the Alps builds. Like, so yeah, I got a decent variety of boards on hand. So like, offloading those boards really didn't impact my collection in the long run. So And like I said, if there's something I wanted to reacquire, I can reacquire it. But for right now, it's fine. So let's just... oh, I was wondering where that went. Okay, let me just put this screw away. But yeah, we're going good, everybody. So we're going to screw these in, and then we'll start mounting our switches, and then we'll solder those puppies in, and then we'll switch over to doing 40%. Because I wanted to do the minivan because it is 40s day, folks. So we celebrate the site today. We celebrate 40% keyboards and the psychopaths who enjoy them. So I am one of those psychopaths. And the whole point of 40 days too is to bombard all of the keyboard forums online with 40% keyboards. And to show more novice people in the hobby that like small keyboards are awesome. So, alright, got those puppies on there, and then we'll screw them on in. So let's get those going. So, okay, so this one right here, that I have, this is my Singa Neko 40. So this is made by Elaine, who is the designer of the Kohaku. And this is a really accessible board of Elaine's boards. This board MSRP'd for I think between $400 and $450. So you can still find this board at its MSRP. The only thing I will say, when these boards come up for sale, they go quick. So if you're interested in like a 40%, this is a fantastic board. Again, it's going to be about $400 or $500. But it's a really good board. I love it. I have it built with a solder PCB, and it's fantastic. And there's a bunch of different layout support that you can do on this board. Just be aware, if you're getting into 40%, you need to find keycap sets that have proper support. Whether they're supporting the split space bars or the really hard parts, the modifiers. The modifiers are non-standard sizes, and that's kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, so I'll show you essentially how 40s work are going to be layers. So yeah, so essentially I set it up with layers. So I have the minivan taken apart. I'll show you a better board to show my layers, how I do them. I have all my 40s out today because it's so here's my Gion Works 40%. This is the F1's 4722. So it's really cool. I have my split right shift right here. So essentially how I set up my layers, I mainly just want my numbers and my function row. So essentially what I do is I press function, and I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And then if I want like the functions within those numbers, like hashtag @ I then would press shift, and then I have all of these symbols that are associated with those. That's how I set up my layers for my numbers and those symbols associated with those numbers. And again, that's how it makes sense to me. Now, if I want my F row, I press this space bar, and then I have F1, 2, 3, 4, F5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is my actual space bar. This engages this function layer for my F row. Now, the thing with 40%, and a lot of people say like, oh, the layers aren't that efficient. Here's my recommendation for 40%. If you're going to get into 40%, set up the layers in a way that makes sense to you. Now, some of you watching, you think, oh, those layers don't make any sense to me. That's the point. Again, you need to set up the layers in a way that makes sense to you. So there is no standard way to set up layers. And that's the kind of cool thing with the space bars, is you can set up the space bars as a button that engages one of your layers. Again, this engages the layer, this button, this function key engages a layer. So that's a really good thing. So that's why that's the big benefit of the split space bars on 40%. Same thing with my Lazy Designers Duo 40. It's set up the same way, but my shift key is over here instead of over here. So same thing. When I press that function key, my numbers are right here. And then when I press that space bar, that gives me my F row right there. Again, those are really the only missing keys that I need. Also for like the question mark, I'll press function, and that turns in, again, period, question mark. If I'm missing, also my missing symbols that go right here, and then also my bracket. So you just have to set it up in a way that makes sense for you. Like every single 40 is different. Again, here's another one. This is my Agar Mini, which is made of brass, and this is Topra. This is built Topra, which is sick. This board also weighs like 8 pounds, so it's legit. Like, I'm just gonna drop it. It's insane. Like, this board is legitimately insane. It's kind of a weight. So yeah, 40s are cool. And they're near. Oh, here's my other 40. Yeah, here's the other 40 I got too. So I got the High Ton 40. which is another one. If you want another really cool 40, Jackie is super sick. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really cool. Yeah, so split spacebar is usually the way to go for 40s. Again, the Neko I have with the unified spacebar because that's the cleanest look on this board. Like the split spacebar bottom row looks like crap to me, so it just looks too busy on the bottom row. So it's like the Neko is my only 40 with a unified spacebar. So I kind of lose some of that functionality. I don't have a split right shift here, so my 2 function keys are down here actually, which is cool. So. Yeah, that's really cool. And the high 1040 is another fun one. Like, this board is unapologetically big. I mean, it's the size of a 60%, but that's Jackie for you. So, yeah. We'll definitely talk more 40s once we get the when we get to the minivan, because we are rebuilding the minivan today after we get the 02 done, and that's a fun little board we're gonna do. So, but yeah, it's a really. I mean, 40s are fun, and I think everyone should have a 40. No, are 40s for everyone? Absolutely not. But I think everyone should definitely give them a try. And the thing with layers, there's no standardization. Like when I go to keyboard meetings and I talk to people who bring 40% keyboards, it's always fun talking with them how they set up their layers, because everyone's going to be different. So that's the thing. So that's why, like, you get, what if your keyboard uses QMK or Vial or VIA, like, go into that software and set up the layers in a way that makes sense to you, that you can memorize. Because no 2 people are going to have the same layer setup. So that's just kind of thing with 40%. Is just like people are very concerned with the layers, and like, no, dude, that shouldn't be a scary thing, because I mean, we use layers every day on our keyboards. People just don't freaking realize it. I mean, let me just finish screen this and I'll show y'all. So like, we use layers every day. I'm gonna grab my little A03 Polaris. Okay, we're gonna look. This is a standard 60%. Everyone uses layers. Look, shift, exclamation point, @ hashtag, $%. I just used layers. We use layers every day on our keyboard. That's how I kind of explain to people who kind of think 40% are weird. Like, also on your phone, like, here, look, on my phone, I'm going to use a layer. Layers. So our keyboards are layered. So people don't think like, oh, layers are hard to use. I'm like, no, you use layers every day in your life. All standard keyboards use layers. Like, the keyboard on your phone uses layers. So that's just the thing about it. Like, it's not that, yeah. Yeah, so it's not that, oh, dude, I love it. I love my Highton. It's unapologetically big. So we're going to put our plate on. So we have our stabs in there, which are really good. And let's get these awesome Type Rs. Also, I'm glad you wanted to build this with Type Rs. Like, I have my KBD fans boot built with Type Rs, and this was probably my favorite Cherry MX switch that launched in 2025. So these are just fantastic switches. I have them in my KBD fans boot. And they're freaking amazing. And also we have top right blocker, so we're not putting one up there. So yeah, let me pull my boop out and I'll show you guys the boop, because that one's fun too. Like, I'll show you my Type R build. So yeah, here's my board with Gator on Type R. So it's my KBD fans boop Redux with GMK Evil Dolch. But freaking love that keyboard. And that switch is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely, I agree with you, Parrot. That would be a sick option. And then again, we're going standard caps lock. So that is pretty good. So making sure that's standard caps, because this is solder, and I really don't want to desolder this board. So yeah, I did desolder to the minivan today, and that was a pain in the ass. I hate desolder. As much as I love Alps and like harvesting switches and like working with Alps keyboards, I hate desoldering keyboards. It's a massive pain in the ass. It sucks. So yeah. Yeah, I'm glad Ill Intent you like wanted me to build you a separate build, because I really, when you initially asking me like, oh, to build you a build, I was like, oh crap, that means I have to desolder my build. He said, no, I want to keep your build. I'm like, sweet. We're just gonna build a second one. I'm like, that is awesome. So yeah, we're just getting these ones in. So we're putting our space bar in. So yeah, this is a really good build. So like, I'm really excited to get this one going and kind of seeing it. But yeah, this is a really cool board, and like I said, if you're into Darling and you want like a board that's like themed to it, like this is definitely a cool board to track down. Just be mindful. Again, you're gonna probably pay between $500 and $600 for the board. That's just kind of what this board MSRP'd for when it was winning Group Buy last year. So just be aware of it. It's not cheap. And there's, again, only about 50 of these in existence. So. Oh, dude, I love HMX switches. I have a ton of HMX switches on hand. I have quite a few builds. Like, my other DNWorks board is built HMX Shinhais. Like, great switch. Great switches, but, like, the Type Rs are just awesome, man. Like, I don't know, man. Because I love high-pitched clack. And these switches just sound fantastic. So, and they also feel really good for also being like a light tactile. So these are fantastic. So yeah, I'm really excited for you to get the. I'm glad you chose a really good switch for this particular keyboard. These are going to sound so good in this board. So we're just getting it. Come on, is that one not wanting to go in? Come on. That pin. Sometimes these pins can be stubborn. There we go. So. Yeah, we are good with this board. So I'm also, before we solder everything in, we'll make sure that all of our switches have no bent pins. That's always a fun and delightful time. So, but yeah, so it should be pretty good. Oh, what's up, Anomalous? I prefer, yeah. I mean, HMX switches are really cool. I mean, some people kind of like, I like HMX. I'm kind of biased because I like clacky sound profiles. So, like, when HMX really started blowing up on the market, the switch market, like, I was all about their stuff. Like, they produce a sound profile that I love. Like, I have the HMX Gulf Oils in my Treeleaf 917. I have the Pink Pigs in my Piggy 60. I have the Shinhais and that. I also have the Sonjas, the KD200s in my S100. So, like, I have a few builds with HMX switches, and they're freaking awesome. Yeah, the factory lube in the HMX switch is actually surprisingly decent. I mean, factory lubing has gotten really good over the past couple of years. I know back in the day, like, you really kind of had to lube switches, but, like, now it's like, unless you're, like, an enthusiast, you really don't have to. I think the one brand of switches I think you actually have to lube to make them sound, just to feel or sound good, are, like, actual, like, factory Cherry MX switches. Like, I don't know, I've never had a factory Cherry MX switch that I like from Cherry. Like Cherry MX Reds or Cherry MX Browns, like, you have to lube those, but, like, most of, like, whether it's from, like, Cateron, Key Geek, JWK, like Wuche Studio, etc., like, the factory lubing has gotten so good. Like, it's just kind of crazy, in my personal opinion. So, let's see this. Awesome. So, yeah, we're just getting this build together, and we'll get it going. So, yeah, we're making good time today. Yeah, so we'll get this one soldered, and then once this one's put together, then we'll do the minivan, because I do want to do a 40 build on 40's Day. Oh yeah, those are looking good so far. We got one more row, and then we'll put these switches to the side. And again, also ill intent, we will send any leftover loose switches back as well. So do not worry, you'll get all your switches back, my man. So, all right. So yeah, it's a good time. So we'll get this board built. All right. Cool. All right, let me just grab a little cup just to kind of keep these in. And then we'll put these loose switches off to the side because these are going to go back with the board when I mill that tomorrow. You just get a little bit of wire, let's fire up the soldering iron, and we'll kind of go from there, everybody. So, all right. Let's move some gear out of the way. Let's get my gloves on because I don't want to get burnt with solder. I've been burnt too many damn times. So, come on. Cool. All right. I'm putting my gloves on because, like I said, I have enough burns on my damn hands from doing this stuff. So, just makes my life a little bit easier. So, all right. Sweet, we're already heated up. Sweet. All right, let's grab the vent and we'll kind of go from there. So, all right, we're gonna start doing this, flipping these puppies over, and we'll get going. Cool. Cool. All right, let's get this one going. Oh God, no! I'm not building the Pomelo. No, so the board we're going to be we are building a 40, but we're building a this board called the Minivan. So you'll kind of see it. The Minivan's kind of like the OG 40% that kind of started it all. So it's a very classic board within the hobby. So yeah, I'll tell you about my Minivan build once we get it going. But I want to get the 02 going. So we're just going to do it. So the way I kind of solder boards is I just kind of do the corners first. And then I kind of work my way around. So do our backspace right here. Kind of, oops. Cool. Yeah, I just kind of, dude, I wish the pink PCBs were more common. This PCB is sick, by the way. I freaking love it. So, all right, let's move over here. Cool. We got our 4 corners in there, which is really nice. Now we're just going to kind of start going through. Again, when I solder Cherry MX build, it's pretty quick. Like my soldering, it's not like soldering Alpsen, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So it's very refreshing when I get to do Cherry MX builds, because yeah, I mostly do Alps building at this point, like vintage builds, or like modern keyboards converted to like Alps, and those are very involved builds. So it's very refreshing when I get to do something simple like this. So really, really nice. So alright. Nice. Okay, let's get that space bar in. Yeah, but I can make really quick work of these boards. So cool, that one's good. Yeah, this one looks really good so far. Cool. That one looks good. Let's finish up this one. Cool. Alright. Cool. We pretty much have the entire perimeter of the board done around there. We're just gonna start doing our numbers and then our alphas, and then we'll be done. So this is a again, like I said, this is a really quick build. And the Minivan will be even quicker because 40% are so little. I only got like 40 switches. Alright. Coming along. All right, so classic 65%, so like or 60. Like you could do. I mean, I don't know if you have I don't know if you have a unicorn. Unicorn would be sick. Another classic one. Cool 60s. Like GSKT 00s are really sick. Like JO2s are really awesome. I have one of those. Like an AO3 Polaris or like an AO3 Vega. Like really sick boards. I have a Polaris and that's really cool. I mean, a Corsica Haku is really awesome. Like, I'm trying to think of other 60s I really like. Yeah, the Vega's a good one. AO3 Vega is a really sick board. Like, if you want, like, ill intent, if you want a really sick board to look into, look at the AO3 Vega. I love AO3 boards. Like, another really cool designer within the hobby. Geon Works is actually, if you're into Geon Works is going to make a 65% called the F165. So that's going to come out, I think, later this year. So if you're willing to wait, you could look into Geon Works. I mean, another one too. Like if you like Geon, like on the topic of Geon Works, like the F260 is currently in stock at Geon Works, which is another really cool 60%. The Frog Mini, any of the Frog Minis, like the Frog Mini Pisante, Frog Mini Ligera, I have all three of those. Those are really sick boards. Like another really clean board I really like is the Hex 3C V2. You can build it with Cherry MX or Alps, or heck even Topra if you really wanted to. But yeah, this is another really, really sick, really nice little 60% that I love. And you can get it in Wing Keyless or HHKB. So, yeah, so those are just some of the ones that I think of. Oh, so that's a Hex 3C V2. You can get that on keybsandcables.com from Australia. So the Hex 3C V2 is a really nice little simple board. They do a ton of different colorways on it. And you can make it Cherry MX or you can make it Alps. So I mean, I imagine you're going to want to make it... You're not crazy like me, so you're probably going to do it Cherry MX. But that's a really cool little board. And also you can get a polycarbonate bottom on it too, which is super sick. So, yeah, so really good. So we're making progress. Now we're pretty much in our alphas. We have the perimeter done, which is really good. So once we get the soldering done, we'll test the PCB. It's Cherry MX, so we shouldn't have any issues. So we'll just make sure all the switches work and register correctly, and then we'll go and mount this in the keyboard, and then do final assembly. And also, ill intent, I'll kind of show when we get it mounted in the keyboard. I'll kind of show you some of the adjustments we got to make to it. There's some specific instructions I got for you if you want to swap to like my build. So. Alright, almost there. Making good progress on this one, so. Cool. Awesome. Got 2 more rows. What's up, Big Bezel? What's up, Big Bezel boy? Yeah, the AO3 Vega is an amazing board, and you can find it pretty easily on Mech Market. I see them all the time. So that's a very, very awesome... Like, AO3, you can't go wrong. Like, let me put my soldering iron down. Like my Hex 3C is basically the 60% version of the Vega. I mean, sorry, my Polaris is basically the Vega. Really good board, like very simple design element. I mean, you do have the weight that goes through on the underside of the boards, but the side profile is really, really simple. Like really great boards. I mean, anything AO3 does is awesome. So, but yeah, you cannot go wrong with the Vega, and it's a pretty reasonably priced too. And again, AO3 is also just top tier quality with what you get with their boards. So, yeah, big win on that one. You can't go wrong with the Vega. So, all right, let's move on. We got 2 more rows we got to do, and then we're at least be done soldering this board. So, then we can move on to keycaps and final assembly. So, cool. Yeah, you're making a good way out of it. Oh yeah, dude. Anything HMX does is pretty good. So I think the switches I own, I think my favorite are the the HMX Skull foils. I have those in my Tree Leaf 917, and those are freaking awesome. So that's probably one of my favorite Cherry MX builds that I have is my Tree Leaf 917. Awesome. Cool, we're getting to our last row on this one. So, and again, like I said, we're making really good time on this one. All right. Big Beelzebub, I'm sorry to hear that, my man. Hey, the world, yeah, times can be tough right now. The market sucks for crap like that. So I definitely feel trust me, I've been in your position, my man. It sucks. So, hope it all goes it. Yeah. Well, the one thing I'll think, too, like, Militant with, like, HMX is, like, I think they very much know what they're doing. Because sometimes you get, like, switch makers who come onto the market, and, like, it's very apparent they don't know what they're doing. So, HMX is definitely a breath of fresh air. And I'm glad they get a lot of love in the hobby that they do. So, it is pretty good. So, we're almost there in, like, our last 5 to 6 switches, and then we'll do a quick test of everything, and I think we should be good. Alright. Last couple of switches here. Yeah, it's really nice. Hey, man. Hey, Big Bezel Boy. Wishing you the best, my man. Sometimes, again, life, sometimes an opportunity closes and a new one presents itself, so you never know. Yeah, I got my last job, I was laid off, and at the time it sucked, but, like, a better opportunity presented itself, and the job I'm currently at, I really, really like. So, yeah, life just has a way of working out. Alright, cool. Alright, we are done soldering there. So I'll turn that off. Let's wrap up my solder wick really quick. And then we're going to do some testing really quick. There we go. Alright, friends. Let's see what we got. Let me take my gloves off because I don't like wearing the solder. Oh, I'm outside of soldering. I really care less for the gloves. So it's just, I don't want to burn my hands. I have enough. I burned myself pretty good earlier this year on my knuckles, and I don't want to repeat that. That absolutely sucked. So let's plug this PCB in really quick, and let's just I want to do a quick little test on VIA. So, all right, cool. Cool. Just making sure everything works. Awesome. Good there. Cool. All right, we are good, folks. Everything works. So let's start mounting this in the case, and we'll kind of go from there. So let me just grab a little bit of agua, and we'll go from there. All right, let's grab the case. Let's grab our top and our bottom case, and then also our keycaps. So let's dump our keycaps out here. So the assembly on this, because I know Ill Intent, you're getting a couple of different builds. So you're gonna want to. So essentially, how you're gonna do it, you're gonna put in a couple of your perimeter keys, and then you're gonna kind of go from there. So you want to have keys that you're gonna put on the perimeter, but I'm gonna put them all. Let's see. So you kind of want to have keys that are like historically on the edges. So not that tab. Tab's up here. All right, I need to go grab my Darling box. I have step caps. So let me grab my Darling box. It's in the closet. I gotta dig it out. Where? There it is. All right, here we go. Here's Darling. I gotta grab some of the other keys that I don't have here. Cool. Alright. There's our caps. Alright. Put those to the sides. Get our backspace. Let's also get our arrows here. And then we're also going to need our escape. So, we're just going to kind of stick some of our keys here. There we go. And you're going to kind of see how this one gets crazy. Oh yeah, big bezel light. Burn marks suck. I will agree with you on that. Is no bueno. No bueno at all. Alright. Cool. Cool. I'm looking for a particular keycap. Give me a minute. I gotta flip all these puppies over. Where are you? Again, Ill Intent, you can organize it how you want. I'm just going to put a bunch of the keys back on. And then, yeah, once you get it in hand, you can kind of play around with the novelties and whatnot and figure out what you want to put on here. I'm just going to put the keycaps back on just kind of how I had them. Okay. Where the heck is it? I'm looking for a particular one. Am I blind? There it is. Cool. Alright. So, essentially what we have to do is we have to line up everything because you have to kind of play around with the alignment of everything and you're going to kind of see how we're going to do it. So let me just kind of get everything more centered up here. There we go. I put that caps lock back. Alright, so essentially we have to figure out, we just want to make sure the spacing is looking good on everything. So we don't want any keys like rubbing up against part of the case. I think that's going to do it. And then we got to close it. Where'd my screwdriver go? Yeah. Alright, let's get this thing closed. What's up, Jedi? We are building a DNWorks 02 this evening. So, this is actually my personal, this was my personal DNWorks 02. I sold it to a person, and the person I sold it to asked me if I would rebuild it with a set of switches of their choosing, and I said, absolutely, I'd be happy to do that. Life is pretty good. Life is good. I didn't have to go to work today because I'm again in my day job. I am a school teacher, so I had the day off today, which was really nice. One of them holidays in February. We have like 3 straight Mondays we don't got to work. So I got a short work week. I don't work today and I don't work Friday, so I only got to work 3 days this week. So, but yeah, I teach my day job. I am a middle school history teacher, and I absolutely love it. Middle school is organized chaos, and I am all about it. So. It is definitely. I am never not bored at my job. So it's been. It's my 6th year teaching, and the past 3 years I was working at the high school level, and then this year I got laid off at my job last year, and I ended up back teaching middle school, and it's been a fun time. So interesting thing, you mentioned the ski week. My job last year, we would get the ski week where we get like a week off in February. This current job, they don't, and that sucks because I liked when I had the ski week. I would travel because it's the off season. Because who the heck wants to travel in the dead of winter? And I went I usually would go to New York, like New York City, because it's cheap in the dead of February and it's freaking freezing and no one wants to go there. All right, we are looking good, everybody. So, yeah. So I'm just putting our ill intent. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm just gonna put the keycaps back on, just kind of how I had them set up. You're getting you're getting the base kit and the novelties, and then you can kind of play around with how the board is kitted. Oh yeah, this is a really good choice of keycaps. So I'm gonna put these keycaps on, and then again, once you get it, if there's certain changes that you want to make, with like some of the novelties or placement of keycaps, absolutely. But for just kind of the purposes of today, we're just gonna get this board put back together. So, and then also, I'll show you too. I have to look through because you didn't buy the spacebar kit for me. I stuck the spacebar kit inside the GMK box. So that's what I do for storage. So tonight, before I pack it up, I gotta look at the actual diagram of the GMK set and figure out which of the spacebars are mine. So you're getting, again, I will make sure that you get the correct portion of the GMK set you got. So just FYI. So because it's a big set. GMK Darling is a massive set. So, and I do enjoy when GMK gives us like the designers give us like those really nice big sets. So, all right. So we're just putting all these switches, these keycaps back on, making sure this board looks nice. So, perfect. XCBB. So yeah, we are looking pretty good. Yeah, this is the Darling board. It's a really cool board. This was a very low production run. DN Works, if you're not familiar with DN Works, they're based out of Los Angeles, and they do very low production runs. Usually their runs are between 30 and 50 boards. And part of that is DN Works is just run by one guy, Darian, and he's just one dude, and it's just kind of, and that's really what he can just kind of handle. Because he doesn't do the keyboard stuff full time. That's not his full time job. He does it as a passion, like a side project. So I tell people it's just kind of economies of scale. Like when I post when I posted like this board or like my 925 full size, people kind of lose their minds at the price point. And I tell them like it's economies of scale. Like this isn't going to be priced like a QWERTY Keys board because there's not many of these made. QWERTY Keys can sell the boards they do at the price they do, because they're making hundreds, if not thousands, of those boards. Like, so the more you make of something, the cheaper it is. Yeah, so this DN Works boards are usually lottery. This board was sold via a raffle. So I was fortunate enough where I was one of the winners in the lottery, and I got the board. But again, you can get this board for the MSRP it sold at. It's between $500 and $600. If you see this on Mech Market, even there's only like a handful of these. Like these pop up on Mech Market from time to time. So like it's not an obtainium board to get a hold of. And also when they do come up for sale, the people are not asking like $1,000 or like $2,000 for like what people ask for like unicorns and whatnot. Like these things don't go crazy. Like, that's the one nice thing with DN Works boards. They hold their value, but they also don't go insane on the aftermarket. Like, they usually sell what they originally sold for MSRP-wise. So, oh my god, that is fantastic. That is so freaking good, my man. Ill Intent. Fantastic choice, by the way. I can't even... How long have I been doing this? I put keycaps on wrong. What the hell is wrong with me? That's weird. I don't know how I screwed that up. I put the G and the J in the wrong place. How did I screw that up? Yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, you're getting... so the client's getting the board, and I bought 2 PCBs and 2 plates when I bought it, so client's getting that one too as part of our agreement, which is really cool. But yeah, so also you get a second assembly. So you get your assembly, which is your Type Rs, and you're getting my assembly that I built with the, again, Gatoron Boxing Pink V2s, which is really cool. So, yeah, so that's our first build, folks. We are doing 2 builds today. So, that is the DNWorks 02, which is super, super sick, by the way. So, super awesome 65. So, so Ill Intent, I'll box this up when I get off stream, once we're done building the minivan. I'll box this board up, and then I'll ship it out tomorrow, and I'll send tracking to you. So, be on the lookout for tracking sometime tomorrow. I'm going to mail it on my lunch break, so that gives you around the time I'm going to send it out. Yeah, so that's a really good one. So, yeah, so let's put that to the side, and then let's get the minivan. So, I'll kind of do some story and lore on the minivan, which is really fun. So, let me just get that course. There we go. Awesome. Yeah. It's a good board. It's a really sick board, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Please use it more than I did. Don't have it just be a display piece. So I'm just making sure that this all lines up. I'm just doing a quick little test fit of the PCB because we are putting a new PCB in this thing. Huh. I want to do a test fit because that's not going to be good if we don't have a PCB that fits. Oh, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe we may not be able to do the minivan, at least with this PCB. Alright. I don't know if this PCB is going to fit. That's really weird. Huh. Let me be right back. Let me grab one of my PCBs, and let's see. Who knows? May not be able to put this PCB in. I want to see. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to fit. Huh. Interesting. All right, cool. We're still building the minivan. We're just going to use the original PCB. It's all good. Yeah, all right. We're just using the OG PCB. That's fine. So, I thankfully I have 2 of these, so that is all good. So, there we go. All right. So, story time on this minivan, because this one's really cool. So, this is a full 1-of-1 board. So, the minivan is kind of the OG 40% keyboard. Like, this is the keyboard that really kind of started 40% kind of as we know them today. Like, it's a really cool board and just kind of form factor. So, so with regards to the 40% just kind of phenomenon as we kind of know it today, like this is the OG board. Now this one's kind of a hybrid. The PCBs, original minivan PCBs, are really hard to get a hold of. So the PCB that we had this built around today is called the Coffee Van PCB from Coffee Break Keyboards. I bought this a couple years ago, this PCB a couple years ago, along with this particular case. And then I kind of did a hodgepodge. So I got the case and the plate from a user in Australia, and then I got this PCB. And the purpose of the Coffee Break PCB project was to have a PCB that was kind of compatible with a wide variety of minivan cases. The minivan's kind of a standard within 40% that really allows people to kind of build 40% using the minivan footprint in a wide variety of cases. Another thing too, this is an aluminum case. This is pretty light. The plate, on the other hand, is freaking heavy. This plate is made out of copper. So this plate basically is the weight of the keyboard. Like, this is not a heavy keyboard, but the weight, like this weighs like more than the case, believe it or not. Like, that's just kind of crazy. So this is a full copper plate. And I also had cut this the plate and the case custom Cerakoted. So they were custom Cerakoted by Premium Sandblast and Cerakote right here in Los Angeles. He's my go-to Cerakote guy. He does all my Cerakote work for my custom projects. So that's really cool. So the switches we're going to be using are going to be a switch you can't get anymore. So these are Owl Lab. Sorry, these are Owl Lab latte linear switches. So these aren't made anymore. I have a truckload of these on hand. These are probably one of my favorite linear Cherry MX switches. I love these things. And then we're also using GMK panels, so nothing too crazy. And then we're going to use some Type Plus stabilizers, of course. So that's what we're going to be doing there. So it should be a good time. So this will be really quick. This is a 40, nothing too much. So we're going to put on our stabilizers. So we're using Type Plus today, just like the 02. So let me find which one I'm going to be using. These ones really quick. There we go, friends. Let's put those going. There we go. Cool. Let's get those going. Let's figure out which is which really quick. Here's those. Cool. And we're using some Type Plus. I'm just making sure I have these ones loose because I have so many extra ones on hand. So we'll grab a couple wires. We're only using 2 stabs on this one today. So, dude, this is a hodgepodge. So, like, I don't know how the original minivan is built. I've never gotten my whole hands on an original minivan. It is an old board, like 2015, 2016 board. Like, this is an old project. So it's a really, really old one. So, so no, these aren't HM. I'm not sure. To be completely honest, like, these are Owl Lab switches. So, do I have my Owl Labs? Do I have? I'll tell you more about them. Yeah, but these are switches you can't get anymore. These are from Owl Labs. So these are Owl Labs, again, latte switches. So, yeah, you can't get them anymore. So I have about 200 of these on hand. So, this is probably one of my favorite linear switches, in the Cherry MX, based on Cherry MX. So I absolutely love these things. So, yeah, so really, really cool switch. And I absolutely love them. So I haven't tried either of those switches, to be completely honest. I haven't tried the HMX lattes. But these Owl Lab latte switches are absolutely lovely. I love them. They're really, really cool. So yeah, we're just rebuilding this minivan. Because it needed to be rebuilt. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that that other PCB won't fit. But hey, that's the thing with 40%. So yeah, but we need to rebuild this board. And yeah, this is probably my favorite of my 40s. And again, this is the OG 40%. So that's the really cool thing about it. Like, this is kind of the one that started it all. And mine is fully custom. Mine is a custom one-of-one minivan. Like, you're not going to find another board like my minivan. Like, it is a true one-of-one. And again, it is one of my boards I would never sell. It was my first ever 40%. Like, when I really dived in, because my buddy got like a board based on the minivan, and when I saw it and I tried it, I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. And that was just kind of a gateway drug, and now I have 7 40% in my collection. So the Pomelo coming in today was 40% number 7. So I now have 7 of the damn things. So, but yeah, it's really cool, and it sucks too, because like Coffee Break keyboards, they went belly up. Unfortunately, they are no longer in business. Unfortunately, there was some, I don't know what exactly it was, but there was some massive drama where basically they were running a couple of group buys, and the owner just went MIA, and their friend did their best to kind of take over and like send out the orders that were already placed, and then they basically closed the shop, and they've told people not to purchase from Coffee Break keyboards anymore. It's really sad because they were a really cool like person who had been in the hobby for like a really long time, but it's just kind of shitty how they left the hobby and left so many people hanging. And also it was really shitty because they took people's money and didn't get them what they ordered. So Coffee Break Keyboards is unfortunately no more. Because it was great because you could get a minivan kit from them, like a reproduction minivan kit that they made based on their PCB for like $80. You could get a minivan. So it really sucks. Like, so I was telling people for a while, like, yeah, you want a minivan for like $80, go to Coffee Break Keyboards, you can get one. And now that's not the case. So yeah, it really sucks what happened to them. So So, oops, I forgot to lube the actual housing. Let's do that first. I mean, there's so many stabilizers we've got to do on this board, everybody. Yeah. SWK switches are really good. Again, these were Owl Labs' switch. So this is an Owl Lab switch. So Owl Lab still makes stuff, which is really cool. I mean, Owl Labs is owned by QWERTY Keys, which is super sick. So I mean, I have a couple. Like I don't have any personal experience with SWK switches, at least in my personal collection. I've tried their switches at meets, but in terms of like a bill that's part of my personal collection that I've used for like prolonged periods of time, like I don't have enough experience with SWK. But like HMX and like HMX and like Owl Lab stuff, absolutely. Their stuff's freaking awesome. So awesome. Put the stabs in. Cool. Yeah, this will be a really quick build. I just wanted to build a 40 on stream, and I tore this board down earlier today because it needed to be rebuilt. So I need to swap some stuff out. So it's all good. So get that, and then we'll get that wire in here. Cool. Oh, hell yeah. That's sick. I didn't know they made by SWK. That's really cool. So, yeah, I guess these are good switches. Yeah, they're fantastic. These are fantastic switches. So, yeah, I guess I didn't know that these were SWK manufactured switches. So, yeah, they're fantastic. Again, one of, like, if I had to pick my favorite Cherry MX pattern switch, it's these switches. And it sucks you can't get them anymore. Because I freaking love these switches. And again, they're in my favorite 40%. When these switches are fantastic. So yeah, I'm just wiping off some excess of my stabs, and we'll get these mounted. So yeah, no, I love these switches like to pieces, and they're awesome. That one goes there. I always forget how crap's mounted here, so give me a second. It takes me a second to figure that out. And then this one. Cool. We got our two little split space bars. Cool. Let's get some screws, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so ill intent. Like the SWK, since I know that this switch now is manufactured by SWK, they definitely have my recommendation. Like this again, like I said, this is one of my favorite MX switches. So all right. All right. Cool. Awesome. Oh, nice, dude. I'm glad you were able, L10, I'm glad you were able to offload that, my man. Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad board. I mean, it's just, like, I don't blame you for offloading it, to be completely honest. So, there we go. All right, cool. So, got that. Let me just wipe off my plate really quick before we get it mounted. Yeah, this plate has a nice hefty weight to it, which is really sick. So, let's get this mounted right here. Awesome. And again, the little baby board. Look at that. So, there we go. All right. Let's get these puppies mounted. So, and what's cool about this PCB too, it has the Alps cutouts, which is really good. Yeah, it's a fun one for sure. So, give me a second. Let me just get the corners mounted really quick. a second. This one's being stubborn. There we go. Awesome. Let's put these ones in. Look at that, folks. So, cool. Let's bring that over here, and let's start putting the rest of these switches in. Another thing too, it's cool too. Like this plate, like almost perfectly matches the switch color, which is like really funny. So, yeah, it's a great little set for sure. Let's put our spacebar ones in. Yeah, but 4Ds are fun, everybody. Cherry Love is a really good set. GMK Perestroika, yeah, good luck finding that set. I don't know if they'll ever do another run of that one. Yeah, this will be a really quick board to solder because it's like, I think there's like 41 switches on this board. So, really, really quick build. All right. Yeah, so we should be pretty good. So, let's see. Awesome. Cool. All right, one last row, and then we'll be good. Cool. A couple more, and then we'll solder this in, folks. Again, this is going to be a quick build, so should be able to make pretty quick work of this. But yeah, look at that. It's all red. So the switches blend in perfectly with that copper plate. Oh, dude, it's fantastic. Again, my Cerakote guy did a fantastic job on this one. So, all right, let's get that heated up. Let's get it going. All right, we're doing the corners first. That just holds, make sure we have everything held in. And then we'll go from there. Awesome. Looking good, folks. Looking good. Cool. Just doing this bottom row, doing our double space bars right here. Awesome, awesome, friends. Okay, so when I did this board, it was $100. So my Cerakote guy charged me $100 to do the case and the plate. It might be a little bit more now because I did that like 2 years ago. But yeah, that's essentially what my guy charged me. So I had this board Cerakoted like 2 years ago. So let's just fix that one. Cool. Alright, got our bottom row. Let's do our sides right here. Alright. Awesome. Got our modifiers. Let's do our top alpha row. There is no number row on this one because it is a 40. Making sure. Cool. Just grab a little bit more of my solder lead. Cool. Alright, we just have our two middle rows right here, and then we're done on this one. So, and these are very quick builds to do. That is the one nice thing about 40s. Yeah, we're making really good progress on this board. We'll probably be done the next couple of minutes on this one. Cool. One more row, everybody. Cool. Alright, almost there, friends. Cool. All right, we are done soldering, everybody. Look at that. Again, it's a nice benefit of 40s. That's why I just wanted to throw this build in I had to do at the end of this stream because it's such a quick one. So, there we go. Got her going. There we go. Look at that little assembly. Got the little Type Plus stabs in there. Just want to, a little bit of excess on these top of these housings, so I just want to wipe that off really quick. Yeah, there we go, friends. So let's start putting it in. Now, one thing about these old minivan builds, they are tray mount. So we're going to drop our board in there, and then we're going to screw it on down. So that is how these minivan builds work, which is pretty cool. Actually, I'm going to see if I get a... I'm going to swap out the screws, because I've never been a fan of these screws, to be completely honest. So let's see if we can swap them out. These are 2.5s. Give me a second. Let me find my 2.5s. I don't think they're gonna work. Never mind. We're keeping the screws as they are. I don't have the right screws to swap them out, so let's do this. Cool. That one's in. Let's do this one. There we go. All right, one more screw and then we'll be good. All right, friends, we are good. Let's put my screws away, and then we'll put our keycaps on, and we'll get on out of here. All right, let's get our keycaps really quick, and we'll get this one going. So, yeah, there we go, friends. That's our little assembly right there. So I'll put our two space bars on. So we have this built with GMK panels, which is such, I think, a perfect set for this board, especially with its color wet. And also, panels has native 40s support. So, perfect. Let's put our modifiers on. All right. And what's cool about this one, most 40% actually don't come with arrows. This one actually has dedicated arrows, which is really nice. So, yeah, panels, such a goated set, to be, if I'm going to be honest. Alright. Coming along. Cool. Yeah, this is a fun little board. I love it. almost there. Yep. There we go. And then that one. Oh, dude, it's amazing. I love panels. It's such a great set. And it sucks you don't... Yeah, I got it from Novelties a couple of years ago, and now you can't buy it anymore. So, yeah, there we go. There's my minivan, folks. That is a great, great little board. And on the back, it has a little minivan, which is pretty great. So, yeah. So, maybe. I don't know. Hander Bait doesn't have 40 support, so sadly... No, they don't. And the point of panels is to have these mixed matched colors. That's kind of the whole point of the set. But yeah, these switches are just, they feel amazing. And genuinely one of my favorite 40% to use. Yeah, those are great. I mean, you can see the very different design language. Like, this is the height, the jack. This is how big a 40% should be. And then there's the Jackie. High ton 40. So, like, Jackie boards are gigantic. But, yeah. I mean, I can show you the collection of 40s. Alright, we got the Neko. We got the Agar Mini. We have... Where the frick else are the other ones? We have the Geon F140. We got the Duo 40. And then... the newest member of the family, which it won't be built for a while, we have the Pomelo. So, yeah, we got a ton. Oh, yeah, dude, the, oh, God, yeah, this is the Agar Mini Brass with the Topera kit. Like, this thing literally weighs like 8 pounds. This thing is insane. So, it's also, like, double the price. Like, the standard Agar Mini is, like, $80. This thing is, like, almost $200, just FYI. So, I mean, brass definitely carries that premium for this board, but it is freaking awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, big bezel, but if you want something crazy for 40, get the Agar Mini in brass. It weighs a lot. It's like 8 pounds. So, it's definitely insane when you pick up, like, the minivan, which weighs, like, nothing. And you go to like that one. But yeah, there we go, friends. We built this DN Works 02 for a client. And then we rebuilt my personal minivan, which is a 1 of 1. So, all right, everybody, we're going to get off here, folks. Again, the VOD will be up on YouTube later this evening. Also, Ill Intent, I'll get that board boxed up, and we should have it shipped. I'll probably have tracking to you probably by like 12:30, 1 o'clock tomorrow. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your evening, everybody.